In this video, we're going to talk about the Android developer tools problems that have surfaced recently. A few days ago, as of the time I'm shooting this video, Google released Android Studio 1.0, which is, of course, their first ever version, official release version, of a tool that sort of really takes over Android development. Now, we're covering Android Studio later in the course, and it's my recommendation that we still use the Android developer tools initially, because there's so many projects already out there using that technology. And if you're looking to get a job or to sort of work in this industry, you really need to have the Eclipse, which is the Android developer tools experience, as well as Android Studio. But anyway, the problem is that when Google released Android Studio 1.0, a lot of things got broken. Firstly, Eclipse is no longer available to be downloaded, which is a little bit nasty in my opinion on behalf of Google. On Google's behalf, I should say. But secondly, some of the software development kit releases have broken some functionality in Eclipse. So what this video is all about is showing you how you can complete the first 5 projects in this course where we're using the Android developer tools, which is Eclipse, before we move on to Android Studio. So if you are having problems with Eclipse, this is a video to watch to get some solutions. If, however, everything's working fine in Eclipse and you haven't got any problems, you don't need to watch it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, I just want to demonstrate what the problem is. But before I do that, what I suggest you do, if you are following along, go into SDK Manager, Android SDK Manager, and make sure you do have the very latest releases, because chances are Google will eventually become aware of this problem and will try to fix it. So I'm just waiting for this to download down the bottom. And you can see up here, this is the problem, Android Software Development Kit Tools Rev for 24. Versions prior to this did actually seem to work okay, but what we also found was suddenly some of the Android virtual devices weren't working. So you couldn't sort of emulate and test your software. So quite a few things broken. So as I said, this video is going to fix that, but what I do suggest you always do, and anytime you go into Android SDK Manager, is to download the very latest version, because that could actually fix things. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select this latest version to update it, as well as the 2 changes in Android 5.0. There's the SDK platforms had an update. I mean, for all we know, that might fix things as well. And just scrolling down, Android support repository, Android support library, I'm going to click on all of those and update them all as well, just to eliminate that as a possibility. Click on install. And that's just going to download the few files that it needs to do the update and process them. And once it's done that, we can go back into Eclipse, and I'll demonstrate the problem firstly, and secondly show you how to get around it. Actually, what I'll do while that's downloading, I'll switch over to my browser. And I'm in the course now. What I want to do is firstly show you a couple of things. Firstly, scrolling down right to the bottom of the course, you can see there's this lecture here, source code for all apps. In this section, you can download all the source code, but the part that we need here to fix the problem, we're also going to do that. So I'm going to open this tab here, which has got this lecture opened. So to fix the problem, what we need to do is download a blank project. So there's 5 projects here: Hello World, Button Press, Calculator app, Top 10 app, and YouTube Player app. These are blank projects. We need to download this to fix this problem with Eclipse, and I'm going to show you further in the video how to do the fixing, but for now I'm just going to click on that. And they are fairly small files, so they shouldn't take too long to download, but they will come up and ask you for a password, and you need to just go back there, and there's the password there on the screen. So I'm just going to copy that, paste it. Once I've done that, I should have the ability to download, so I'm going to click on download. You can see that's downloading. It's quite a small download, it's only a small file. Okay, so I'm going to open that up. Actually, I'm going to leave it in there. That's going to be the folder I'm going to access the files, because I'll come back to that shortly. So let's just go back and see how our download's working. It's chugging away nicely. So what we really need to do, what we are going to do in Eclipse, is we're going to create a new project, which will probably come up with an error because of this problem with the revision 24 SDK. Then we're going to import this project over the top of that other project to fix the problem. Sounds complicated, but it's actually quite straightforward. So in terms of the process that you'll need to do to follow, you'll going back here to our videos. So for example, with the Hello World app, which is the first app we created in the course, you will still follow along and create the initial project as per normal. So in this case, remembering the name is My First App, and you'll type in all your details, the project name, you'll select the correct minimum required SDK and target SDK and compile with SDK as per normal. Once you finish that, you'll find that you'll get an error, and that's where our changes will come in and fix that problem for you. So go ahead and make sure you do that first, and once you've got that in Eclipse, this is when you come back and finish the problem. So fix the problem. So we're going to actually do a test here with My First App. That's going to be the project we'll go through just to fix. Okay, you can see that's now finished. So we can close this now, and what the suggestion always is that you close down Eclipse after you've downloaded some SDKs. And I'm just going to start it again. By restarting it, it makes sure that we've got that very latest version and working and Eclipse can see it. So we're going to create a new project as we normally would. New Android application project. I'm going to call this one My First App. Whichever project you're working on, you'll do the same process. Now you'd normally change the package name. I'm going to leave that just to sort of demonstrate that this change that we're doing is fixing the problem. You'll notice that at the moment that's com.example.myfirstapp. I'm going to choose API 16 as I normally would. Then I'm just going to go through do next to all the things. Choose blank activity. Click on finish. Now what will happen is Eclipse will come up with an error. Now you can see the error here on the left hand side. And you can see it says no resource found that matches the given name at theme. Well, there's a couple of issues, but the first one, if we have a look at that, Android Manifest has got a problem, so I'm going to double click that and move over to Android Manifest.xml. Now it's looking for a file called style, and that would normally be in a folder called res values style.xml, and that normally gets created automatically by the Eclipse when we do a new project, but that's the problem, that it hasn't created that. In addition, there's a layout file that's missing as well. Normally there would be a layout file in this folder here called activity_main.xml, and the other big thing is there's no source code. So the Java source code hasn't been included. So that's why we've got all these errors and nothing is going to work until we fix the problem. But fixing it is quite easy. So we've downloaded, as you saw earlier from Dropbox, the project that we're working on, in this case My First App. All we need to do now is making sure that My First App is still open. It has to be open for this to work. And if any other application is open, you should right click it and select close. Now I've only got the open option here because it's already closed. So make sure that only My First App or whatever the project is you've just created is open. Then go up into File, Import, and go into General, which is already selected in my case. Click on Archive File, click on Next. Now we need to browse to the file that we've downloaded. We downloaded a few minutes earlier in the video. Okay, we're going to select the file that we downloaded. In this case, it's the first Android app. Click on that zip file. Okay, it's going to show you some files. Make sure they're all ticked. Make sure overwrite existing resources without warning is ticked. Now, if you by chance don't get anything here, if that's blank, that means you probably didn't click this before you started. If that's the case, click on cancel. Make sure you click on the project that you're wanting to import before you start the import process. So assuming this is all okay, which is it is now, click on finish. And it'll come up and say, do you want to update your launch configurations? Click on yes. Now you can see at this point the error has gone away. We've now got some source files. You can see we've got our main activity. You notice the package name has changed. Remember before it was com.example. It's now org.example. Looking into our res folder. There's now a layout file. And there's also a values file. It's now got the styles that was missing in the past. So that's good to go. The other thing is now we can also run our emulator. And that will work. Now that was an issue. What I suggest you think about doing is go back in here, and if you've got one in here already, delete that and recreate it, just in case. So So again, recreating, you can have a look at the video, or I'm just going to quickly go through and do it because the video goes through and explains everything. I'm just going to check the basics here. Make sure you select the latest version of Android. Intel Atom x86, I'm running Hexam. Host GPU, I'm going to just drop down the amount of RAM to 768. And once this has finished getting created, we're going to start it. And we're just going to quickly run our app just to make sure that it's working. So this concept, this step-by-step process will work for all 5 Android developer tools, Eclipse projects we've got in this course. So you'll just go through and obviously change the name for each project. So the error is really only causing problems when an app is first created with a new project. Once the code is in the system, so to speak, in Eclipse, there doesn't seem to be any other problems, and you can sort of add new things and build the project and so forth. That all works fine. It's just that initial project that had problems. So I'll let this finish loading, as I said, and then we'll just give it a go. You can see that's loaded up now fairly quickly, which is good. Going to just unzip that. Okay, so now I should be able to run this app. I can choose my Android virtual device, tab over to it, and there you go. So it's working nicely. So that's the process you need to follow to fix this issue with Eclipse. And if you've got any other questions, as always, I'm available in the discussions area to answer any queries. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.